So Python or Java, which one handles classes in a better way? Think about it. Hello everyone. Today in the video, I'm going to tell you about Python classes. So basically Python classes provide a means of bundling data and functionality together. You know what is class in procedural language in C. We have structure, and then structure has been further enhanced in C++, and we called it class. And then we have class object, which is the instance of the whole class. So through object we can actually access the whole class, and class can be a combination of many things. Inside the class we can have methods, we can have data. So in a way, class is an abstract data type, which you have learned in C structure. Structure was an abstract data type. We create a new data type through class, and through object we access them. So similarly in Python also, it is just that it's a bundling of data and functionality together. So creating a new class creates a new type of object, okay, and allowing new instances of that type to be made. That means through object you can access the class, and each class instance can have attributes attached to it for maintaining its state, okay, and class instance can also have methods for modifying its state. So class basically a combination of methods, data, and then we are creating an object, that means an instance of that particular class. So also remember, this class were earlier in the procedural language in C, we call it structure. We also have structure variable, but later on when we moved on, we enhanced the structure into class in C++. Then we call it class, and then we created an object. So through object we can access the element of the structure, and then later on OOPS concept came, which is like hiding the data hiding, polymorphism, and a lot of things have come. So in Python also this class concept is there, everything is there. Whatever the class facilities were available in other programming, object-oriented programming language, same thing is also available in Python, okay. So let's see. So in class objects supports two kind of operations in Python. One is attribute references, another one is instantiation. So if the class definition looked like this material I have taken from python.org. So if it looks like this, then it will be called attribute references. Here you can see attribute references. Then myClass.I, here we have created a class name which is myClass, and then myClass.I and myClass.f are the valued attribute references, returning an integer and a function object respectively. So this is attribute references. So class instantiation uses function notation. So this is slightly different. It uses function notations. Just pretend that the class object is a parameter less function, then returns a new instance of the class. For example, this is a class instantiation. Here it is written as function. So class instantiation uses function notation. Here you can see that this is a function notation which is of class instantiation, okay. So creates a new instance of the class and assign this object to the local variable x. So here the new instance of the class has been created, and it has assigned this object to the local variable x. Now this is not the end. We have one function which is called init function. So basically when class instantiation happened, this init function plays an important role, and we have to use this init function whenever we are going to access the class through object. That means whenever this object instantiation story will come, we will have to use this init function. Remember that. So the init function method may have arguments for greater flexibility. In that case, arguments given to the class instantiation operator are passed to init function. Remember, init function is must whenever we are actually in broader aspect in OOPS in Python framework. Always we have to use this init function. So init function, so this is the class definition. Here you have written the class definition, here def init function, and you can see three arguments we have passed over here. One is self, another one is real part and imaginary parts, and then these two attributes, actually these are called attributes, right? So this is a complex number. So this class definition, actually the main part here is this init function, right? So here one thing to be noted, that is self is used, self keyword is used. There is not that much into self keyword. It is just that it is used to represent the instance of the class. With this keyword you can access the attributes and methods of the class in Python. It binds the attributes to the given argument. So okay, so this is what this init function and this self keyword are used in the definition of class in Python framework. So let us just do a small example of Python code. Let us write some code so that you can understand class in a better way and how to do this instantiation of objects. Okay, let's dive in. So here I am going to show you the operations, how to define a class. First of all, you have to write the class keyword. Similarly, the way we have written the definition of functions, we used to write def keyword in case of defining the function. In case of defining the class, we have to write the class keyword and then the class name. Let us say our class name is nothing but Python class. Okay, and class object suppose two kind of operations. One is attribute reference, another one is instantiation. So this is attribute reference. Okay, so here in the class I am initializing z variable with 50. Okay, and then I am just calling here this Python class function and then finally printing the values. So let us run this one. Let's save it on the desktop. Let's say class so here 50 results has been displayed. Now let us go to the next stuff, that is class object support two operations, as you know, reference, attribute reference, and second one is the instantiation. So this is the attribute reference. This is the attribute reference that we have seen. This is the attribute reference. Here this is the attribute reference of first class definition. So this is the attribute reference that we have shown. Through attribute reference, the result is coming is approximately through attribute reference we have this 50 that we have initialized over here. And similarly, we can also do the instantiation. So instantiation need this init function. So here we are going to see the init function example. So here def, this init function has been you can see we have written init function over here. So this is the self keyword. Already I have explained what is self keyword, and this is the class that I have taken is nothing but university class. So in that university class I am considering university name and total number of departments, these two attributes. So this self keyword will bind these two attributes with the argument. Okay, and then here self dot university name is equal to university name, and self dot total number of departments equal to total number of departments. Now here the variable and then university, and then this is the I'm passing two argument over here. One is Caltech, another one is 6. So this Caltech will be matching with this university name, and this 6 is nothing but total number of departments. So here I am just printing the university name and total number of department. So here you can see that init function has been called, init function has been defined, and here these two argument that I have taken, two attributes actually, which is university name and total number of departments, that has been instantiated. And then finally I am going to pass this Caltech and 6 so that I should get these two outcomes printed. Okay, so you see Caltech and 6 has been displayed. So in the next program I'm going to show you how self keyword also can be very helpful to do the same job. So you see here same program, here also self keyword is there, but here I have written a function for self function, and then here I am passing this self keyword, and then I am printing it. The university's name is self.university name. So in this university name will be accessed as Caltech, I suppose. So here I just have to change this, instead of my function this should be so here I'm going to show you in this program, I'm going to show you how self keyword can be very helpful, and it can do the same job that in the earlier program you have seen, and how it instantiate the process, instantiate the object. So here you can see class university, and the definition, this is the class name and this is the class keyword, and then here don't forget to put colon, and here I have written for self function, and then I have passed this self keyword over here. So by this process it should print the university name is Caltech. So let us run it. So the university name is Caltech. So you have seen how self keyword can be very handy in times. So next we are going to see how to modify the value. So here I am going to tell you how to modify and delete the properties of the object. So here Caltech and 6 we have assigned. I am going to change it. I am going to update it by 8. So just that I have to write this variable dot total number of departments equal to 8, and variable dot total number of departments you have to print. So if you run it, you have the university name is Caltech and the department is 8. It has been updated. So this is interesting. Similarly, you can also delete the properties of the objects. Similarly, you can delete the properties of the object by simply writing this del keyword and then var.university name, and if you run this it will be deleted. And finally we have another way to delete the object, is nothing but del variable. Just if you write, then object will be deleted. Okay, so this is how you can update and you can delete the properties of the object. Next we are going to see another interesting keyword, which is pass. We can see that this pass keyword is there. So pass keyword is showing the empty class with blank elements. That means no elements, or no members, or no data inside the class. So, okay, this is the class definition, class university, and you have to just write pass so that nothing will be done. Simply it is an empty class which showing the empty class with blank elements. Okay, that means no elements at all. So I hope you have enjoyed this video of class and object oriented paradigm concept of Python. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this lecture, that which language, Java or Python, is having little bit of edge in terms of handling the objects, in terms of handling the OOPs, in terms of handling the classes. Okay, in Python framework and in Java framework, I think Java has little bit of edge. Python also can do similarly. Python also can do the same thing as other object-oriented programming languages. okay. But comparing Java and Python, Java is having little bit of edge. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how you can handle inheritance in Python framework. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Programming Circle.